March 4th, 1918. Camp Funston, Kansas. A young cook named Albert Gitchell reported sick. His sergeant told him to stop complaining. By week's end, thousands were sick. The army filed reports. Nobody imagined what would come next. Within weeks, the virus crossed the Atlantic. Carried by soldiers shipping out to war, it moved through France, through London, through Spain. Governments downplayed it. Newspapers buried it. There was a war to win. And panic, they believed, was more dangerous than the disease. By the time the world admitted what was happening, 50 million were dead. The Spanish flu killed 5 times more people than World War I. This is the story of the deadliest pandemic in modern history, and the governments that chose silence while millions died. To understand why governments stayed silent, you need to understand 1918. The world had been at war for 4 years. Morale was everything. In America, the Committee on Public Information existed for one purpose: control the narrative. Bad news could end the war effort. The Espionage Act made it a crime to hurt military morale. Newspapers knew the rules, and they followed them. So when soldiers started getting sick, the story was buried, not through one order, through 1,000 quiet decisions. The disease was unlike anything before. Most flu killed the old. This one killed the young, healthy adults between 20 and 40. Doctors didn't understand why. The immune system overreacted so violently, the body, in trying to fight, destroyed itself. Victims could be healthy in the morning, dead by nightfall. And yet, the official line never changed. Everything is under control. The war effort is not affected. There was one exception: Spain. Neutral in the war, they had no censorship. When the flu arrived, Spanish newspapers reported it honestly. King Alfonso XIII fell seriously ill. The story ran everywhere. Because Spain was the only country reporting it, the world assumed it started there. It didn't. But the name stuck. The Spanish flu, named after the only country honest enough to talk about it. By summer 1918, the first wave had spread globally. Relatively mild. Soldiers got sick. Most recovered. The war continued. Commanders noticed their troops were weakening. None of them reported it upward. The pressure to keep fighting was too great. Then, in August 1918, the virus mutated. What came back in the fall was not the same disease. The second wave was catastrophic. Lungs filled with fluid. Skin turned blue. Nurses called it the Blue Death. Hundreds of soldiers dying every day. The army needed more men. Troop ships kept sailing. Those ships became floating coffins. Men who boarded healthy were dead before they reached Europe. One soldier wrote, "We could not get the dead out fast enough. The smell was unbearable, and still the ship kept moving." In France, entire regiments were too sick to fight. General Pershing reported the collapse to Washington. Washington's response: maintain troop strength, continue deployments, keep moving. On the German side, General Ludendorff wrote that the flu destroyed his plans for a final offensive. His men were too weak, but in the newspapers, nothing. The war news continued as if nothing was wrong. The disease was reaching the cities, and cities in 1918 were not prepared. In Boston, sailors brought the disease ashore in late August. Within days, hospitals were overwhelmed. The health commissioner begged the mayor to cancel public gatherings. The mayor refused. War bond rallies were scheduled. Within 3 weeks, nearly 1,000 people in Boston were dead. The death carts couldn't keep up. The disease moved south. New York, Baltimore, Washington, and then Philadelphia. Fall 1918. Nearly 2 million people, one of America's greatest cities. By late September, the flu had reached the naval yard. 600 sailors were sick. Dr. Wilmer Cruzen was monitoring the situation. On September 18th, Cruzen issued a statement. No cause for alarm. Of the ordinary type. Philadelphia was prepared. He was wrong about all of it. Scheduled for September 28th, the Liberty Loan Parade. 200,000 people expected. 10 days after Cruzen's statement. Several doctors begged the city to cancel. Dr. Anders warned it would be a ready-made, inflammable mass. His warnings were ignored. The city needed the money. Canceling a patriotic parade would send the wrong message. September 28, 1918. 200,000 people gathered on Broad Street. Families brought their children. Old men waved flags. It looked like a celebration. 3 days later, hospitals began filling faster than they could empty. Soon there were more sick people than beds. October 1st, 117 dead. The next day, 200 more. Philadelphia's 31 hospitals filled within a week. Doctors began turning people away. Emergency hospitals were set up in schools and churches. They too filled within days. The city ran out of nurses, doctors, medicine, coffins. Coffin makers worked around the clock and still couldn't keep up. Families couldn't bury their dead. October 5th, 289 people dead in a single day, the highest in the city's history. The city finally acted. Cruzen, the same man who said no cause for alarm, ordered everything closed. It was too late. The parade had already done its work. Telephone operators fell sick. Police officers fell sick. Basic city services began to collapse. Garbage piled in the streets. Trolleys stopped. Stores closed. Philadelphia was shutting down. Volunteers drove the sick in their own cars. Women put on aprons and went to work in emergency wards. The city held, barely. In the poorest neighborhoods, entire families were wiped out. Social worker Harriet Farrell went door to door in South Philadelphia. In one house, a father, mother, and 3 children, all dead, the youngest still in her crib. No one had known. By October's end, 12,000 dead in Philadelphia. In a single month. Across America, the same story. New York, Chicago. The response was always the same. Too slow, too late, and still, newspapers called it a minor inconvenience, an unfortunate side effect of wartime, nothing to panic about. The men making these decisions were not evil. They genuinely believed panic would cost more lives than the disease. They were wrong. The silence didn't save lives, it cost them. The parade killed more Americans than any single battle in World War I, and it didn't have to happen. By November 1918, the second wave was receding. On November 11th, the guns of World War I finally fell silent. The war was over, but the pandemic was not. A third wave struck in winter 1919. The virus had no interest in armistice agreements. At the Paris Peace Conference, Woodrow Wilson collapsed. Many believe it was a severe influenza attack. Between 50 and 100 million dead worldwide, far above World War I by any measure. 1/3 of the world infected. In Alaska, in the Pacific Islands, entire villages wiped out. Not one survivor. In India, 12 to 17 million dead. The British government barely mentioned it. South Africa, Iran, Brazil. The same story, the same silence, the same death. The pandemic left almost no mark on cultural memory. No monuments, no remembrance days, nothing. The world that survived simply wanted to forget. The 1920s roared because an entire generation was desperate to feel alive again. But forgetting had a cost. The Spanish flu proved that controlling information in a crisis can be as deadly as the crisis itself. The doctors who warned were ignored. The officials who chose morale over truth were never held accountable. 100 years later, in 2020, governments face the same choice. What do you tell the public, and when? Some chose transparency. Some chose silence. History is a lesson every generation has to learn for itself. The Spanish flu killed up to 100 million people, reshaped the world, and for decades, almost nobody talked about it. Albert Gitchell, the cook whose fever became the first recorded case, survived. He lived until 1968. 50 years of silence. He rarely spoke about it. History remembers the war. It barely remembers the cook whose fever started a global catastrophe. 50 million graves, 100 million, some say, all marked by the same silence that helped fill them. It began, as so many catastrophes do, with one ordinary person on one ordinary morning who simply felt unwell. If this story moved you, subscribe to Retold